defined as a barren area of landscape that receives little and infrequent precipitation, consequently creating living conditions that are hostile for plant and animal life. The majority of deserts are located away from the coast where there is a lack of moisture. This is not always the case, however, as there are quite a few coastal deserts such as Namib in southwestern Africa, or even the Antarctic Desert in Antarctica. The largest desert is the Sahara in northern Africa. Deserts around the globe are very dry, receiving less than 9.7 inches of precipitation year-round. There are three factors which can create this environment. First is high pressure, which creates cloudless conditions. This frequently is the reason for the stereotypical desert landscape. Second is cold ocean currents, causing the air to become even more frigid, which makes it impossible for the air molecules to hold water, and thus precipitate. The results of such an effect are the Arctic and Antarctic deserts. Third is that commonly very large mountain ranges can block cloud coverage, causing valley deserts. Here is an annual temperature pattern for the Sahara Desert. Regardless of where a desert is located, however, the pattern of hot days and cold nights is universal, creating extreme conditions that few plants and animals have been able to adapt to. Humans have majorly impacted biomes across the world, but through pollution, deserts have been particularly affected. Because of the pollution in the atmosphere, the ozone layer has diminished, causing hotter temperatures which dries up water holes, helps start forest fires, and overall creates even more extreme conditions for the organisms that try to live there. Cold nights are common for desert landscapes due to the lack of insulation in the atmosphere, which is usually provided by cloud coverage and humidity in other biomes. Even knowing about these hostile environments, however, it can still come as a shock when it snows in one of the hottest places on Earth. Earlier this year, it snowed in Ain Sefra, Algeria, on the outskirts of the Sahara Desert. This was the result of high-pressure systems in Europe being pushed down further than they typically stretch. These waves of wild weather make desert biomes even more volatile, eventually resulting in hotter, drier days. While animals have adapted to obtain water from their food sources and to conserve what little amounts they obtain, even vegetation are struggling to survive. Desert soil is always very dry and thus only able to support a sparse amount of moisture and is only able to carry water through the very top layer. This limits the microorganisms present in a desert ecosystem, though algae, bacteria, and moss can occasionally form a crust along the Earth's surface. In California, this extreme drought has dried up any water once present in the soil and vegetation, making the environment almost uninhabitable. As a result, birds have shifted to higher elevations and many insects and lizards have vanished from sight. Arguably the biggest effect this change in climate has had, however, is on the desert tortoise population. When searching the desert landscape, researchers found only 14 living tortoises and 64 dead shells, many of which seem to have died from dehydration or starvation. While the remaining surviving tortoises seem to be full on a recent desert bloom, it's a wonder if their population could survive relocation. They are a species that has outlived the dinosaur, but they still have to face their greatest threat yet: human impact. Overall, deserts are a resilient biome with many successful plants and animals that thrive in the unusual conditions, and hopefully these beautiful landscapes can be preserved for generations to come.